The STEM Society.
Welcome back to the STEM Society. I am your host, Cole Jackson. This is episode 109, and it's live. Thank you for joining me for another wonderful episode. This week has been full of delusion. The timeline has been full of chatter, and I don't know how to maneuver through it. It's very confusing out here in these streets. This week, Pusha T went on this interview run where he was talking a lot about Travis Scott, and you guys seem to think that that's going to equate to him trying to sell the new Clipse album. Delusional number one. Then Jim Jones versus Nas. Do I need to say anything else? That is one of the most delusional things I've ever heard of, but I'm going to break both of those things down, and we're going to have a conversation about it. Let's get into the whole thing with Pusha T and Travis Scott. This all started from the third verse off of the Clipse new song, So Be It, where Push just gets his shit off.
So be it. You cried in front of me. You died in front of me. Calabasas took your bitch and your pride in front of me. Her utopia had moved right up the street, and her lip gloss was popping. She ain't need you to eat. The net gon' call it the way that they see it, but I got the video I can share and AE it. They wouldn't believe it, but I can't unsee it. Lucky I ain't TMZ it.
When I first heard this, I automatically thought, this has got to be about Kanye West. Has to be about Kanye West. And I was wrong. This was about Travis Scott. And it was breaking down how his girlfriend left him. It was breaking down how he had a fight with AE, who was a super producer out of California, and how he cried about this whole situation, and how Pusha T has this video of what went down between AE and Travis Scott. How do you get this shit? By the way, how do you get this shit, Pusha T? It was just a complete breakdown of who Travis is. He's pulling Travis's whole card. And that surprised me because I never thought in a million years I would be saying Pusha T has a problem with Travis Scott until I read the GQ interview that came out later on. And it went deeper into what his problem is with Travis Scott. This is what he said in the interview. He don't have no picks, no loyalty to nobody. He'll jump around whatever he feels is hot or cling on to whatever he feels is hot. So that's where my issue comes in at. Like, dog, don't even come over here with that. Because at the end of the day, I don't play how y'all play. To me, that's really just like, he's a whore. He's a whore. It's bigger than just Pusha T trying to sell an album. He don't want to deal with these people, bro. Pusha T has gotten to this point in his career where he don't have to deal with none of these people. He's a big enough star to be able to do whatever he wants and talk the way he wants to talk. And then on the flip side of that, I look at Travis Scott as somebody who's not necessarily the industry guy to be a friend with. I mean, I see Travis Scott be more of a brand deal guy than anything else. I don't see him making friends. And the music business is not really about making friends. It's about big business. It's about making money and try to get over before the labels fuck you over. After reading that article, I was just going through my regular day, scrolling on Twitter, getting ready to go back and forth with some idiots, and found this other video of Pusha T in this New York Times interview where he goes a little bit deeper into why he said what he said in the verse.
He interrupts the session. The next day, the meltdown verse or whatever comes on.
Drake on Travis Scott talking about melting Pharrell's jewelry.
Yeah, and all of that. Yeah. That was a corny, like, you shouldn't have been here anyway. Him specifically, too. I don't take it as personal as I should. It's Travis. He's harmless. I'm not into what his whole makeup, to come back in our fold.
To make a point of...
Yeah, to invade the fold and then... do all that he did. It was like, man, that was corny. He's shameless. He does it. You've seen him do it to everybody. I've definitely had to put my hand on your shoulder before. You died in front of me. You cried in front of me. I had to help you. People take that type of shit for granted. I don't take that for granted.
I had to put my hand on you. I'm sorry for laughing. That's fucking hilarious, bro. Like, he's like, you cried in front of me, bro. I had to help you out of this mess. Okay, let's go through this video bit by bit, starting from the beginning. So it looks like Travis barged into a session, which is super important when you think about Pharrell and the Clipse. and the music that they've made. You've heard 2 songs from them already, so you know what they're doing is important. And he played Utopia. He played the Meltdown song without the Drake verse. Very deceitful, very fucked up, especially when you're talking to somebody like Pharrell or playing your album for Pharrell, and especially when the next day it's a complete diss about Pharrell. How would you feel if somebody came into your session, looked you dead in your face, and played this album for you, and then the next day you hear the diss about you when you were just hanging out with that person? Wouldn't you feel a type of way about that? I know I would. I know for damn sure I wouldn't fuck with that person ever again. And I think I get why Pusha T is going on this rant about how corny and stupid Travis Scott is. You're sitting up here barging your way into something that's super important because you're Travis Scott. I've had to console you because somebody beat your ass and took your girl. And you want to play this corny bullshit. Yes, Pusha T has every right to be angry. He has every right to pick up the beef for Pharrell. Pharrell is a legend, bruh. Who beefs with Pharrell? And I know everybody on the other side of this camera is saying, well, Travis Scott didn't do the rap, bruh. That was Drake. You check, niggas. It's your album. Travis Scott has as much creative control as he possibly can have on his albums. We know this. Do you really think that if you was cool with Pharrell, you would let that shit ride on your album, bro? That's some fuck shit. You don't do things like that. Why would you do that? And I know everybody's like, well, it's Drake. It's Drake. You can't just check Drake. Yes, you can. Drake does it to people all the time. Drake has had people's verses erased. Drake has had people's songs put down. And maybe that's the problem too. Maybe Travis was afraid that his album wouldn't get put out there. Maybe he was afraid that Drake might use his power on him. I highly doubt it because Travis Scott is a cash cow. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But let me get back to the Pusha T side of things. Pusha T has every right to be upset with this man because that was some low down dirty shit that he did. I wouldn't fuck with him either. And let's be honest, Pharrell can't rap. I mean, damn, that was very cold, but it's the truth. Pharrell ain't finna get in the fucking booth and put a diss tape out there. He might do a diss beat or something like that, but I think when Pusha T found out that all of that stuff are down, especially the history that Pusha T has with Drake, I think Pusha T took it upon himself to inherit the beef. Let this nigga know we gonna check you, and we not gonna go for the corny shit no more. And it's the people on the internet that's making it so dirty because they feel like Pusha T don't have clout enough to sell an album without doing this. Let me tell you right now, Pusha T is one of the most surgical niggas in the game. And yes, he does talk about coke a lot. Yes, it's coke rap. Yes, he does these, he's only got one thing, but he does it well. He does it way better than a lot of other people. And when it comes to beef, well, we know how the whole Drake Pusha T thing went. Pusha T won that beef, by the way. You're hiding a child? I know you heard that verse. A lot of the internet really feels like it's a bully tactic or it's a rollout. One side of me says, yeah, it's a rollout. Why not roll your album out over somebody's mistakes or things that you know about them? But the other side of me says, it's Pusha T, it's the Clipse. We've been waiting on this album for years. Real hip hop fans have. Now you can't sit up here and tell me that we had to have beef after listening to that Ace Trumpet song. That Ace Trumpet songs dropped and everybody was buzzing on the internet. So you can't sit up here and tell me like he needs to go against Travis Scott to be able to sell albums. That's bullshit. It's just not how it goes. I've been listening to the Clipse for a very long time. I think they can get away with their skills to be able to sell an album. And then you got Pharrell who's going to produce the whole thing. Yeah, we ain't got no problems there. I think it was just him taking up for his homeboy, which a lot of this stuff don't happen no more. A lot of you don't have loyalty like that. A lot of you are really just some scared people who don't want to take up for their friend. especially when you know your friend can't fight. And that's what Pusha T is doing. He's just taking up for his homeboy who can't fight his own battle right now. Sounds kind of weak at first, but have you seen for real? Case closed. To wrap this whole thing up, I like the fact that Pusha T is coming out here with these interviews. I think he is rolling this album out. I think he's selling this shit in a certain way. I also think he's calling out a lot of the industry bullshit that happens so much. Now, the question is, does Travis Scott get in the booth and answer Pusha T back? Let's pray that he doesn't. If you know Pusha T's track record when it comes to beef, when it comes to going back and forth with somebody, you know he is surgical with that microphone. Travis, whatever you do, do not go back and forth with Pusha T. It will end badly. Do not fall for the trap. Do not go for this bullshit. Stay away from this man. He is a monster when it comes to battling. I think you should reference the Drake beef and kind of go forward from there. I don't want to see Travis do it anyway. We're good. We're good on that. I think we should just sit back, wait on the new Clipse album, and I think everything will be all right. What do you guys think? Do you think Pusha T is wrong for using this Travis Scott thing to help roll out their new album? Do you think that Travis Scott should reply to this whole Calabasas line? There's conversation to be had, and it's in the comments. Let me know down below. This is the part of the show where I ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. If you like hearing me rant and rave about hip-hop news, if you like my album reviews, if you enjoy listening to honest commentary about hip-hop, give me a subscription. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And help me grow, man. I'm trying to grow this thing into something more than what it is. I'm trying to make it here in London. And I need you guys' help to be able to do that by showing the growth of my channel. So if you would just take time out to say, hey, I enjoy this guy, and subscribe. And if you don't, thanks for the watch anyway. Let's get back to the show. I love Jim Jones. Jim Jones is one of my favorite artists. I was a Diplomats fan for a very long time. Jim Jones is currently the definition of what hip hop is in its current state. Cocky, overconfident, and being master manipulators. I watched this clip from the Joe and Jada show, and it's a clip about Jim Jones and Nas.
Kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03. You heard? Like, let's keep it a buck here.
Yeah, but
like, let's keep it a buck. You heard? Let's keep it a buck because you'll bring it up. There must be some type of misconception or what's that word? When it comes to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones have done in this game. Gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No Diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and the niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
Jim Jones has a great body of work. I'm being real with y'all when I say that. He does. El Capo, underground classic. Wasted Talent, another underground gem that people don't talk about. He had a nice mixtape run. But when you compare yourself to Nas, you got some balls, brother. You got some cojones on you. Nas is one of those people that consistently gets disrespected out of all of the greats. He has always been top tier MC, top tier rapper. Here's the thing. We are confusing being relevant with being great. Jim Jones is relevant, very relevant. He's relevant right now because he stays in the trenches. He's with the younger acts. He even gives the younger acts a platform on his albums to be able to get out there. No other OG is doing that right now. And I understand why he's relevant. The video with the 22-year-old talking about how much more relevant Jim Jones is than Nas makes sense because he's out here. He's on ground level. Here's an example. Look at it this way. Jim Jones is the equivalent to Daredevil in Marvel Universe. A lot of y'all watch Marvel shit. Jim Jones is street level. Jim Jones handles the street level crimes. He fights Kingpin. He fights niggas like that. Every now and again, Jim Jones or Daredevil gets called up, and the Avengers like, we need you on some fighting shit, my nigga, because you know how to handle these streets. You know your way around here. We need you. We'll call you up every now and again. So that's cool. Guess who's doing the call up? Nas. Nas is more of Iron Man. Stay with me. Nas is one of the people who've been up here putting niggas together, been making the shit relevant for a very long time. And Nas is just too far up in the clouds to be thought of anymore. Street level niggas ain't looking for Iron Man like that. And then when you need to fight somebody from outer space, you're not gonna call Daredevil to do that shit. You're gonna call Iron Man. Hey, yo, these Thanos and them is tripping. We gotta like fight these niggas. You're not finna pick up the phone and call Daredevil. Just saying. There's steps and levels to this shit. Jim Jones is the smartest nigga in the world because telling people to look up the catalogs and look up the placements and all this other stuff, he knew that was gonna give him more traction on the timeline, on the algorithm. See, what we're failing to realize is Jim Jones is a hustler. And that conversation was a hustle tactic. Jim Jones know he ain't got the billboard placements like Nas does, but he knows that when niggas see that video and they start looking him up and then they start they see what he's talking about, they're either gonna A, turn away and say this nigga lying and type it on Twitter, or B, they're gonna look up his catalog and kind of see what his music is sounding like for real, because they never really heard a Jim Jones album. See, Jim is about that paper, bro. He's about that bag. So whatever he has to say to be able to get people to put his name in the algorithm or move shit around so he can be heard and thought of, that's what he's gonna do. I think Jim understands the game. And he understands when you put Jim Jones' names with Nas's name, things are gonna happen and people are going to listen more or talk more about him. This is all just a plot to be able to manipulate the algorithm to get him to be talked about in the same breath of Nas. I have not seen Jim Jones be on the timeline so much than he did this past week in a very long time. And be honest with you, I think we're taking it way too serious by saying he's just as great, because a lot of your favorite podcasters are saying the same bullshit. Oh, he's not as great as Nas. That's not the conversation. Jim Jones made that the conversation, but that's not the conversation. The conversation is who's more relevant. And you can go all the way back to the Nas 21 Savage song and see Jim is more relevant than anything else. You guys don't remember the Nas 21 Savage beef that happened? It was a whole thing. Anyway, I think Jim Jones played his hand correctly, especially when he knew his name was going to be out there talking about the relevancy and all this other stuff. Jim's just trying to get a bag, bruh. He ain't really about that whole I'm better than Nas, even though they had a beef at one point in time. Kids go look up the Jim Jones Nas beef. That's a real thing. But at the end of the day, we know what Jim is doing. I know what Jim is doing. Jim is most definitely putting his name out there to be able to catch another bag somewhere else. He's probably got an album dropping. I'm pretty sure we're about to hear a Pusha T diss, because remember, the Clipse and Pusha T, or Pusha T and Jim Jones have a little bit of a back and forth going on, and it's on Push to be able to answer to Jim. All this shit is connected, bro. It's like you got to learn how to connect these dots. That's how you control the algorithm a lot of times. It's a funny thing. But let me know, is Jim Jones better than Nas in your eyes? Is it more about relevancy than it is about the raps? There's a conversation to be had, and it's in the comments. I got nothing else for you guys. It's been a great week. It has been a lot of news. Make sure you guys check out my playlist as well. Time for me to plug this shit. Check out the In the Loop playlist if you want to hear music from up-and-coming artists on top of some mainstream artists. That is always updated every Monday. And make sure you guys check out my UK selections list if you want to be if you want to be on top of what's going on in the UK music-wise. That's the only list you need. make sure you go to Spotify and Tidal to be able to listen to these. It's always posted on my Instagram and on my Twitter. Check out what I got going on and save the playlist, man. The more y'all save it, the more it supports me. With that being said, I got nothing else for you. Thank you for your time. I will catch you guys on Wednesday. Peace out.
Thank you for joining the STEM Society.